So hi there, welcome to lesson 7. We are about to round up and we have had a few interactions, and now this is time to consolidate what we have learned again further before we move to deeper waters. So this lesson is basically about maximizing the course moving forward, setting principles so they are clear and we're on the same page as we move forward in this course. So there are about 10 principles here that I want to reinforce, and they will greatly help us. The first one is the focus of this course. Some people are here because they want to do data analysis. Unfortunately, that is an advanced level course. You cannot analyze data that is not credible. You cannot analyze data that is not good. So the first task is to establish that the data is useful for uh, analysis. Now, we will do some level of analysis, really, when we're doing what we call checking data. But deep analytical stuff will be later. The goal of this course is data management, and it's very important that you understand this, and it will guide the remaining 8 modules that we have. We have 10 modules in all. So the remaining 8 modules will focus on data management. And that's what's encapsulated in the last lesson of module 1. We would have raw data, which will be imputed. It will go through create, check, clean, and then we'll have the final data, which will be the output. That is what this entire course will focus on. So if we're not creating data in this course, we are checking. If we're not checking, we're cleaning. If we're not talking about the raw data, we're talking about the final data. So we're talking about these 5 main steps, if you may, of data management. So just to put it out there. The second thing I want us to emphasize, lesson structure. We'll try to create some scenarios in certain lessons, fairly where we have practical lessons, and then we'll provide you with an input file, and you are supposed to provide us with the do file to help solve the problem. So we say this is a file, blah 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 with this file, and then this is the scenario upon which this file is based. Create a do file that solves the problem or addresses the task that is given. So basically that's how we're going to do it. So we've talked about CDs a lot and folder location, so it's very important. You are going to be doing a lot of changing of folders. Remember, rice will leave the bag to go to the sieve, from the sieve to go to the pot, and from the pot to end up in the plate. So you have to master your changing of directories very well, because we'll be doing that. Some of these folders you create yourself, some of them will be created by reason of the files you downloaded, but please pay attention to folder location. The fourth thing I want to talk about is that we'll move from simple to complex. You know, I mentioned options in module 1, module 2, and lesson 1, where we talked about commands. We will not use detailed commands, but we'll use just some of the options, and then as we progress, we use more options. Secondly, we'll use small databases. As you can see, we were using very small databases, and what I mean, the one we used for cars was about 74 cars or so. But when I give tasks and assignments, I will give large databases. I will also give a few lines of code in the same vein in my illustration or in the template, but when you are submitting yours, it may be several lines of code. It may be several lines of code. Now, the whole idea of 2 and 3, even 1, is to tell you that when you grasp the fundamental principles for data management, you can apply it to any data: agri data, health data, nutrition data, health, entertainment data, education data, nutrition, social welfare data, whatever kind of data, criminal data, data about crime, I'm going to do that. So it's really, there will be a lot of, variety, so that you can understand that what is necessary for this work are just the fundamental principles. So you please don't forget that. Please make sure that that is valid and you keep that. So the second thing is managing errors. Now you had seen when we were working, sometime I think in lesson 2 or 3, we had the red lines. Now errors will happen in your course, and like someone says, there's no general without scars. So you're going to make mistakes. But just understand the fundamental principles that when these errors happen, it's just a principle or law that is being violated. The more you align with the principles and laws of Stata, the less likely you're going to have errors. And most of them can be fixed. So if it tells you, oh, I can't find this file, your job is just to look for it or make sure you are referencing the correct file. So most of the errors can be fixed. Very few, just very few. I dare say less than 1% are the ones that they are beyond your scope and you may not be able to resolve. So whenever you see an error in Stata, don't just complain, just ask for more insight, look for more insight and knowledge because most of them can be fixed. Okay, so the sixth thing is about saving files. So you have to note where your working directory is. I would suggest that you save all your files in a particular folder so you can go back to them, refer them, and then even in the file you have or whatever you have separated the raw files that came to you, the ones you worked on. So don't mix them together. So output files have to be saved, and then you can still save in old versions. I am currently using Stata 17. As I speak and record this video, Stata 18 is out. So whatever you doing, you can still save in the old versions of what you are doing. So we'll try to make sure we take that into cognizance if we share a Stata file. So deliberately and intentionally, we may give you a file that is maybe version 12, so that you can be able to align. So if you have any problems with that, just let us know. Okay. So item number 7, labeling do files. You need to say what each subtask do. And as we go through, we will let you know. That helps us to also assess your thinking and your strategy whenever you write do files. So there are green comments there in the editor, and then we'll spend a little time on that too, explaining how you do that. Now, as you gather a library of files as you are maturing, you will need 1 or 2 days to copy some snippet of the file and paste into another file. So if you label them properly, you are able to reference them in the days to come. So basically that's it. Now I'm going to talk about splitting windows. Now we know we have the browse or edit window and we have the main window. So the do files, I like to have it on one side and then now share. So do file has priority. That's basically what I'm telling you in this class because it shows you your sequence of tasks or steps, and then you are able to look at what the data looks like every time you are running a do file. So we're going to dwell on that too and try and practicalize it. Okay. So if you look at what will be happening in all the future modules, we will split the screen just like this. On the left hand side, we have the main window, which you're now used to, and then on the right hand side we have the do file editor. So as you run, this is just an animation, so just take some time and watch it. As you run the file, I'm going to just do a little bit of animation now. You will see that now this is splitting. I need to emphasize that this is splitting between the do file, which I said is priority on my right, and now data editor. The previous slide was do file and main window, but do file editor and data editor side by side. So now let's look and take cognizance of this animation. It's just going to run. So select clear, and then you run. When you do that, data set is cleared. If you can pause the video, you'll see that. Now when you also do cd, you see that, and then when you select the file, the data is loaded, and when you label the file, find all the details there. So basically that's how we will work in this course. we will split the screen into two so you can see what's happening on the other side. So similarly for the what's the word now? For the data editor too, we will do the same thing. Now, when you clear data and when you load data, you would find them on the left hand side. So as you are working on the right hand side, just the do file, selecting lines, you will find the solutions. I mean, anyway, yeah, or the results of your programming on the left hand side. So I don't want you to quote me. Sometimes the do file may be on the right or on the left, but I prefer it to be on the right, and then what you are watching to be on the left, so right in front of you. So that is the principle of splitting windows. We have two more to go. Okay, so there is system files we have done with CSUs, and that's what we are going to use a lot. Not because we can, but that's one data set that comes with the installation. So you may miss it with all the other data sets, but this one you're able to work with it. So it comes with that, and then CSU is the command. We've emphasized that before. So let's use the data set to show that. So you see, I said clear CSU sensors, and you can see the CSU sensors is another file. We have been using auto for a while. They show there. So we also have what we call CSU's directory on that. I mean, comma all. It shows you all the installation, all the installed files that come with Stata. If you have a Stata installation, you are likely going to have all this data already pre-filled in the dataset. Okay, final thing we need to talk about, the 10th thing, is default colors of the variable types. Now you remember in lesson 1, you could go back there, I mean module 1, we had referred to different formats of data. So we referred to the categorical, non-categorical, and the string. So just to emphasize here, 1 minute, let me go back quickly. Excuse me. So the black is numeric, the blue is numeric, but the black is numeric non-categorical. So just plain. It's words like, what we call the continuous variables. Blue is categorical, the numbers mean something. And then red are strings. Now, I'd mentioned it before, but keep mentioning it. In order to process numbers, the data has to be a number. In order to process text, it has to be text. What's interesting too is there's something called the date variable. In order to process dates, the data has to be in date in the recognized date format. So dates are colored black because they are also taken to be numbers. Okay, so let's look at a bit of that uh, in this census data. So if you look closely in the census data, you find that you find the red, the blue, that's red that you're seeing now, and the blue is categorical, region southwest, and then the black, which is the population, is in black. The numeric numbers are in black. So basically, this is how it works. So these are the basic 10 concepts that now we have added to the previous 8. Not to overwhelm you, as we move forward, we will utilize some of these principles. We will refer back to this place, so you may need to watch this over and over to make sure that you have really understood it. Please do not forget to like, to share with anybody. If you have questions about this, please put it in the comments. If you have students who need to learn what you are teaching, and this will be very useful tool for them, please share with your students, share with your colleagues, share with your teachers if you feel they would really be it's really beneficial for them. Just share. Don't forget to like, don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next class. So hi there, welcome to the practical session where we talk about some of the concepts we have just realized or principles for moving forward and optimizing this course. So we will not take too much time, we will just go straight into the matter. The first thing we mentioned was the lesson structure. So I'll just give you an example of what it may look like moving forward. I will just move this here. So let's look at exercises. So we'll be sending certain exercises which we'll do like in class, and then we'll do um, like homework or assignments. Now the whole idea is not to make it like a formal kind of school, but to find places, excuse me, where we could have some interaction and deepen the knowledge of these concepts. So I'll give an example of what this lesson structure will look like. For movies, for example, we had a folder called movies, which was sent to you. We're just giving an example. And then when you open up movies, you get to see the Excel file right now. So the Excel file right now says this is the scenario. I mentioned scenario some few minutes ago. Um, an Excel file that has a list of highest grossing movies of all time. So a file which I call the input file, it could be Excel, it could be CSV, it could be Stata will be given. An Excel file has a list of the highest grossing movies of all time. Inspect the data and answer the following questions. Question number one, does the data meet quality standards? And I taught you that already. I emphasized all that we know, the hallmarks of quality. So you could have an exam like this, or let me not use the word exam, so it's too stressful. An exercise, that's what we'll call it. So does it meet quality standards? Why did you give your response in one? And then using a do file, kindly produce evidence to support your claim. So if you look at that folder for movies, there's an Excel spreadsheet. It's already here. So let me just open it. And then your job is to, okay, sorry, it's already open. So your job is to go through this Excel spreadsheet with whatever I taught you and answer the questions. So these are the highest grossing movies of all time. So there's an input file, there's a scenario file which is typically in Word. We just type out an exercise and then you are going to produce the do file. That's your evidence. Whatever steps you're taking, that's what you're going to do. Okay, so that's basically how the lesson structure would go. Scenario, input file, and then do file. You produce a do file to produce evidence. So I'd already explained that before, and I'm going back there again. So this is it. Excel file has a list of highest grossing movies of all time. I've explained that. So I'll give you all the contextual information. I'm going to talk about that, I think, in module 10 in deeper sense. When we have started applying some of these things, we now reinforce it in the final module. So we are talking about movies of all time and then inspect the data and answer these two questions. But in order to answer the two questions and verify that you know what you're doing, show me a do file that validates your position. So those three things: scenario, input file, do file. I hope that is clear. Now we've also talked about folder locations now. So we're going to be moving across folders. So there will be a folder and I'm explaining that, and maybe a main folder and maybe a subfolder or folders that link within one particular folder. So there may be a folder for the input. I'm just saying, depending on what you want to do, a folder for the processing. I'm just saying it could be anything, because I'm still going to show you all that, and then the folder for the output. So it could be all this in not in the exact sequence. But bottom line is that you have to refer to them. So if I were referring to this, there's one way of copying a folder. You can right click and copy the path. If you are in Windows, this is just straightforward. You copy as a path, and when you copy, you can bring it right here into Stata. Control 9, and then you can say CD and paste. So sorry, it's not needed to put those. So let me go back again to say CD and then paste. So it has made that the default folder, and you put what you want to put there. Remember, I talked about the rise, how it moves on back, so you can have, maybe I make it easy for you to understand. For now, let's go back here. Sorry, I think I've missed it again. Okay, so let's go back. to Sage. Yeah, sorry, and then yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong place. So yeah, so we have folders here, main folder. So under the main folder, you can have the bag where the raw data comes in. You can have the sieve, and then you can have the port. I'm just trying to show you that some data will start with the bag, they'll move to the sieve, and then move to the port. And all you just need to keep on doing is using series. So, of course, everything I'm mentioning will try and illustrate. So, sometimes you may need to create your folders before you start. You can also use Stata to do that, but we're not really going to that. So, you can just create them manually. Sometimes when you unzip the folder that we send to your file, the folders are already in place. So, but we'll give you all that information in the scenario document. Okay, so I also mentioned simple to complex, and one of the examples is, let's go back to the movie folder. Let's go back to exercise and then go back to the movie folder. I think it is, yeah. So let's go back to movies. I think I opened it before. Okay, so sorry, I opened it before. So so these particular movies of all time, all we have is 50 in this database. So 50 observations, 50 entities. So straightforward, but it's very, very possible that we have, let's go back to huge data sets, that we have data sets like this. This is called the World Development, I think, WDI, I think it's World Development Indicators. So it's a big data set. And if you look at it, now you should know how to know. It has 300, 800, and 300, 800, and, sorry, 384,000 plus observations. So 384K worth of observations. So it has, quite many lines of data. You're just scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. So we told you we do something as simple as just movies, maybe 50 observations. But the same principle, that's the emphasis throughout. That's my goal. To show you that the same principle you use with 50, you can use with 50 million, you can use with 50 billion observations. So it's just the same principle, only that one takes time to load, but the same basic principle. So that is how it works. We've also emphasized that you are going to need to save information, which is fine. So whatever you do, keep a copy on the server. Okay, so let's address the save portion of this thing. So basically, whatever files you have to just emphasize where you want it to be saved. Whatever work we give you when you are done, try and save. Now, I told you in lesson one that you could have output as Excel, output as data, output as CSV. So here I am saving, and my output is in data. I mean, data. So, so that's how I want to put it. So whatever you do in your do files, try and have a copy of your files. So for example, in just a few minutes ago, I mentioned movies. So you could save a movie file, and when you're done with what we told you to do, you could say movie underscore review. Just give it a name, but have a folder where you save all your work, which you're going to submit. So please note that if you just send us the do file, sometimes we also want to see the output. We want to see what your evidence is. We said use a do file to produce evidence for movies. And all this we will soon illustrate. I'm sure in the next module we're going to do that. But we just want you to know that moving forward for the rest of this interaction that we have for this course, we are going to be using these principles that we had mentioned. So we had mentioned saving, and we're going to do it, use it powerfully. So another one we talked about is labeling the do file. So if you put an asterisk, you find a green character on your screen for each do file. So it means you can now write a label. Now, Stata does not run anything on that line. So that's one way of labeling. So I can say open the auto file in the Stata installation, something like that. So when I run that portion, if you look by this side, nothing really happens. It doesn't, those green parts are not listed. So sometimes comments to come right in front. I can write it like this: open file. So that's one way to run again. So what it does basically, it has to be two bars, please note. Two backward slash bars. So you do that, forward slash rather, sorry, forward slash, the double, and then you now write what your comments are. Please remember to leave a space, very important, so it doesn't look like if they are clustered together. So that's how you do your comments. There are other comments, and I'm happy to, create another video for that, where you use, I guess, it's the star hashtag, which creates a bookmark, and you're able to refer to it here. So if I said position 1, now this is for long do files. We are writing a lot of do files and they are very, very long. If you just put the double star and hash, you get that. So I can go to position 1, and then if I do, maybe go down, the do file, and then do another one here with the hash double stars asterisks, and I call this position 2. Now this helps you if you have a long do file to go to where you're going. Now I'm still commenting. That's what I talked about. So I could go back to position 1 by just clicking here. So it goes back to that portion where position 1 is, and I can come back here, click and select position 2, which is far below. So bottom line of that is that it just helps to organize your file, and the more complex your do files are, the more it will be good to have bookmarks. Okay, we talked about splitting windows, which I've already started doing. Sometimes we have started this thing. So it depends on what Windows you are using. Even if you are using a Mac, you have the ability to split between apps. So you can split here and split into half. So there are techniques using Windows to split. Okay, we also had mentioned, let me go back to the do file up there, let's go there and mention that we could use sysuse sensors, which we used in the illustration, comma clear. So let's select these two lines and then open. So what this does is just basically showing us that the text is in red. And how you know, if you look at this value, you find it red. Sorry, you find it there. I was on Delaware, I was on Florida, I was on Idaho, I was in Maryland, so, and then you find it on the cell written, just like Excel, if you are used to Excel. So all red show that way. The same thing with black. I'm coming back to blue. So whatever number I select here, it's not formatted, but it's the same number. 2718215, 2718215. This is 19197,735, and that's what you find here. But when you go to the blue one, which is categorical variables, it's very interesting. What you find behind the categorical variable is a number. I already explained that before. So it's a number when we're talking generally about categorical variables. So you go back to module 1 if you need a refresher of that, where a number represents a word. So what's interesting is blue, that's one, but you see words in the spreadsheet, but behind the scenes, what you see is a number. So south means 3, west means 4, I guess northeast means 1. So we have different regions listed here for the census, the US census. I think that was done in a particular year. So basically, those are the colors, the 3 basic colors. So whenever you see blue in Stata, by default, now people can be wild and be advanced. By default, a new brand new Stata, this is what you find. The same thing with text, it's red, and then the same thing with numbers, pure numbers, continuous numbers, it's black. So I hope this has helped. Just let's wait and go into lesson 8, where we do more intensive practicals that try to encompass everything we have learned completely in this module. So I've emphasized lesson structure. Don't forget that. Scenario, input file, do file. I've emphasized folder location. I've emphasized simple to complex. This is still simple data. This census data has 50 observations, not much, So because the level of observation of the entities here at the states, But if you were talking about the people living within the states, this was 5 million people here, 9 million people here, 4 million. If you had all those people in each row, wow, that would be massive data. But like I said, there's no need to fear. The goal is to make sure that you don't fear any data. I've also mentioned to you how we label do files. I've mentioned how we split screens. So just drag. I need to emphasize again. You just drag. I told you that you could just drag to one end. And now we have the main window plus the editor. Of course, I could also drag to the other end and have the data editor plus the do file editor side by side. And then we mentioned the default colors which you have seen. We've mentioned the red, we've mentioned the blue, and we've mentioned the black. So please pay attention to these things as we proceed because we'll be making reference to it. Thank you so much for your time and see you in lesson 8 where we'll wrap it up for this module. Thank you. Bye. Hi there. Many thanks for watching my video. I am really excited that you're able to make it to the end. I really need your help. If you have been really enriched in your knowledge by this video, please subscribe, please like the video, please click the notification bell so that whenever I release wonderful videos to demystify all the complexities around Stata for data management, you will be one of the first people to observe. I have a singular goal to help to create a tribe of people who produce the highest possible quality of data in the shortest possible time at the lowest possible cost. You will help me to achieve this dream of mine if you can like, subscribe, and share with your students, share with your colleagues at work, share with your friends. Thank you so much, and God bless.